Have you ever wondered what would happen if you stopped hiding the brightest parts of yourself? Welcome, Radiant Leo, to Eternal Mindfulness, where today, the universe isn't just whispering your name, it's calling you into a powerful awakening. And trust me, you didn't find this message by accident. Right now, there's a shift happening within you, so subtle, yet so undeniable. Maybe it's the way your heart has been beating a little louder lately. Maybe it's the way sunlight falls into your room at angles that almost feel like messages. Or maybe, just maybe, it's the deep, wordless knowing that you're standing at the edge of something sacred. You're not imagining it. You're sensing the cosmic rhythm tuning itself to your frequency, preparing you for a breakthrough you can no longer delay. I want you to pause and breathe with me for a moment. Feel the air around you. Notice the way even silence seems to hum today. That's not random. It's resonance. And it's your inner sun, the true, unfiltered, unapologetic you, beginning to rise after too long in hiding. The energy of the last Sunday of April isn't just passing by. It's a portal, Leo. A final warning to stop dimming your own brilliance just to fit spaces that were never built to hold you. If you've been noticing signs, repeating numbers, strange synchronicities, dreams that linger long after you wake, it's because the universe has been speaking your language all along. So tell me, my beloved Leo, what angel number has been showing up for you lately? Drop it in the comments below and let's anchor that energy together. 1111, 888, 333. Whichever number echoes inside you is not just a coincidence, it's your spirit confirming that you're on the brink of something extraordinary. Let me take a moment, from the bottom of my heart, to thank you for being here. Every like you share, every comment you write, every time you choose to subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, you are helping this sacred space grow, thrive, and reach more souls who, like you, are ready to awaken to their true light. Your presence is not just seen. It is deeply felt. It's your support that fuels this channel and keeps these transformational messages flowing. I honor you for walking this path with me. And believe me, my dear Leo, you will want to stay with me until the very last second of today's journey, because what the universe is about to reveal is nothing short of breathtaking. This isn't just another horoscope reading. This is a cosmic invitation to return to yourself, to stop seeking permission, and to remember that your light has always been enough. So, I ask you, are you ready? Not to fight for your place, but to remember it. Not to force your power, but to own it. Not to wait for the world to catch up, but to realize you've been the sun all along. If something inside you is stirring even as you hear these words, Leo, then you're exactly where you're meant to be. And our journey is just beginning. Not every shift announces itself with noise. Sometimes, change arrives as a slight pause in your breath, a ripple under your skin, a sudden awareness that the light falling across your familiar room seems sharper, more deliberate. Leo, this is the silent turning point you've been sensing but couldn't quite name. It's not chaos rushing in, it's clarity, ancient, tender, insistent. The energy of the last Sunday of April isn't shaking your world apart. It's folding you back into the parts of yourself you quietly abandoned while trying to be everything for everyone else. As the sun, your ruling force, completes its dance with Earth at this pivotal time of year, something stirs deep within your energetic field. It's as if the cosmic currents themselves are recalibrating your rhythm, inviting you to listen not with your ears, but with the inner chambers of your heart. The gravitational pulls and subtle planetary alignments aren't random, they're harmonizing with the call already echoing through your spirit, a call to return to your truest form without apology or hesitation. Imagine standing at the threshold of dawn, when the darkness has not quite released its grip, but the first golden strands of light begin weaving through the sky. There's no loud proclamation that a new day has begun. There's just the undeniable softening of the night, the sacred promise carried in the shift of the air. That's what is happening inside you now, Leo. It's the soul's natural intelligence, the inner sun you were born to carry, stirring awake after seasons of being dimmed by expectation, exhaustion, or fear. The body knows before the mind catches up. You may find yourself breathing differently, pausing more often without knowing why, feeling an unnamed urgency flickering behind your ribs. This is the language of true transformation, quiet, persistent, and deeply personal. In teachings passed down for thousands of years, it's said that awakening is less about reaching for something new and more about removing the dust from what has always been there. The pure self. The steady flame that needs no permission to burn. At this crossroads, the invitation isn't to push harder or achieve more. It's to become still enough to hear your own frequency again. To notice which spaces make your chest tighten and which ones let you breathe deeper. To recognize where your energy contracts, not because you're wrong, but because something is asking you to listen closer. The ultimate wisdom whispered through cosmic energy right now is simple yet profound. Realignment begins not when you force the world to fit you, but when you allow yourself to stand where your soul feels unshaken. There is a deep, sacred kind of courage in becoming available to your own clarity. In a world obsessed with louder, faster, more, you are being asked to do the opposite. To slow down until you can feel your own heartbeat leading the way again. To trust the path that unfolds without spectacle, without validation, without needing to explain yourself to anyone. Like the first crack of light that slips through the night sky, your next chapter doesn't demand attention, it simply exists because you do. The silent turning point is not a test you must pass or a storm you must survive. It's a homecoming. A remembering. A realignment with the cosmic truth that you are already whole, already worthy, already luminous. And as this subtle but monumental shift continues to unfold inside you, Leo, may you remember that no force outside of you can outshine the sun you carry within. There's a certain language the universe speaks, one without words yet clear enough to echo in the deepest parts of you. Lately, Leo, you may have found yourself catching glimpses of that language everywhere, numbers appearing in strange repetitions, moments that seem too precisely timed to be called coincidence, dreams that linger long after morning has pulled you back into the world. These are not accidents. They are alignments. Gentle reminders that life, at its core, is far more connected to you than you've been taught to believe. When you see 11:11 flash across a clock, when you stumble upon the same symbols in different places within hours, when you meet someone who feels eerily familiar though you've never exchanged a word, it is not your mind playing tricks on you. It's your inner field syncing with the greater field of existence. Just as the planets orbit with exquisite precision, your experiences are drawing circles around the moment you're about to step into. A deeper current is pulling you forward, and it's no longer possible to dismiss it as chance. In the sacred mirror of the tarot, the card of the sun carries this same message. It is not an outside validation, it is a confirmation of what has always burned within you. The sun doesn't ask permission to shine. It doesn't adjust its brilliance based on whether the sky is clear or stormy. It simply exists in fullness. So must you. Your awakening now is not about becoming more powerful, it's about becoming more real. Dropping the layers you once believed you needed for protection and standing bare, honest, and whole in your own light. Even the ancient wisdom of cycles teaches us that everything real already exists within. The lotus doesn't rush its unfolding. The oak doesn't question when it's time to break through the soil. In the same way, your spirit has been gathering energy, shedding old weight, waiting for this very alignment. Numbers like 222, 555, 888, they're not warnings, they're invitations. Each one whispering, you are not behind. You are exactly on time for your own blooming. And still, in a world that constantly demands explanation and proof, it can feel daunting to trust something so soft, so unseen. But trust is not built by understanding alone. It is built by feeling. By leaning into the moments when you sense something larger at work and choosing not to dismiss it. Every sign you've noticed lately, every flicker of synchronicity, has been like a lantern lit on your path, one step at a time, without rushing you but refusing to let you stay asleep. If you've been seeing these signs, Leo, it's because your soul is ready to step through a threshold. Not with a roar that demands attention, but with a steady, quiet knowing that your place has never been outside yourself. Growth at this level is not about proving who you are to the world. It's about no longer questioning it within yourself. So if a number crosses your path today, if a random song feels strangely written for you, if you sense someone thinking of you just moments before they call, pause. Breathe. Smile. You are witnessing the intimate dance between your inner world and the vast intelligence of the universe. And if you feel called, I invite you to share that number, that moment, down below. Let it be your way of affirming, I am awake. I am aligned. I am here. Some mirrors do not hang on walls. Some mirrors arrive in the form of a person, a moment, a sudden memory so vivid it feels like breathing in another lifetime. And sometimes, Leo, the greatest shift begins not because someone else saves you, but because they reflect you so clearly that you can no longer look away. In the quiet unfolding of your journey, a reflection appears, not to lead you, not to fix you, but simply to stand still enough for you to recognize the light you've been carrying all along. It can be disarming at first, this kind of reflection. The mind may try to explain it away, to label it, to reduce it to mere coincidence. But the heart knows better. There is a stillness that falls over you when recognition happens at the soul level. It's not about falling into admiration or attachment. It's about witnessing yourself through another lens, one that shows you not the image you perform for the world, but the essence that has always been waiting underneath. Like gazing into a still lake at dawn and, for the first time, seeing not just your face, but your entire being staring back without the distortion of roles, fears, or expectations. In numerology, the energy of 1 resonates here profoundly. It symbolizes beginnings, leadership, self-trust. Not the loud kind that demands validation, but the quiet revolution that happens when you finally believe you are enough without needing an audience. This is the vibration now being mirrored back to you, an invitation to step into your sovereignty, not because someone else crowned you, but because you were born carrying your own crown. You've always had it. You've simply forgotten where you placed it. Real growth doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention or accolades. It moves like a river underneath the surface, reshaping everything it touches without needing recognition. In the wisdom of presence, it is said that the true journey is not about adding more to who we are, but about shedding what no longer belongs. Not in anger. Not in rebellion. But in the quiet certainty that the self you've been searching for was never missing, only clouded by the noise of trying to fit where you no longer belong. You may find that when this reflection appears, it doesn't come with dramatic fireworks or declarations. Instead, it feels like an exhale you didn't realize you were holding. It feels like the moment you stop rehearsing and simply exist. And in that existence, you find strength not in proving yourself, but in knowing yourself. That knowing cannot be given by anyone else, nor can it be taken away. It rises naturally when you stop negotiating your worth with circumstances that never knew how to measure it. If you've ever looked into someone's eyes and, without a single word, remembered something sacred about yourself, that is the kind of mirror we are speaking of. And it's no accident if such a moment is finding its way to you now. The field around you responds to your readiness. When you begin to treat your own light as inevitable instead of conditional, the universe reflects that certainty back to you through people, through synchronicities, through moments so precise they feel destined. So if recently you have felt a surge of recognition, a pull towards someone or something that reminds you of the best, truest parts of yourself, trust it. Not as a place to anchor your identity, but as a reminder that you are already whole. Your flame needs no permission to burn. And in the soft, unmistakable recognition of that truth, a new beginning, quiet but powerful, has already begun. Sometimes, the greatest act of courage is not about rising higher, but about shedding the invisible weight you've carried for too long. Leo, you were never meant to force your light to fit into spaces too small to hold it. You were meant to radiate effortlessly, not because the world applauds you, but because shining is your natural state. And now, as the currents of this moment reshape your energy field, the invitation is not to become something more. It is to finally remember you never had to perform at all. If you have found yourself exhausted not from doing too much, but from trying too hard to be what others needed, you're not alone. The old way taught you that your value was tied to being admired, validated, needed. But the deeper wisdom rising in you now whispers a different truth. The sun does not wake up each day wondering if it's enough. It simply shines because it exists. And so do you. The restructuring happening within you is not a collapse. It's a homecoming. As this realignment unfolds, tending to your body becomes a sacred practice, not a chore. Deep breathing, soft stretches, time spent under natural light, these small, seemingly simple acts are profound affirmations that you trust your own rhythm more than the noise of urgency around you. Nourishing your body with sunlight, clean water, movement, and conscious stillness isn't about chasing health, it's about remembering that your vessel is the first temple where your true energy gathers and flows. In your work, too, the shift will become undeniable. Projects that once seemed exciting because of the recognition they promised may start to feel hollow if they don't feed your soul. Instead of pushing harder for external milestones, you are being guided to seek out what makes your spirit come alive. True success isn't measured by titles or applause. It is found in the quiet certainty that what you are building reflects your essence, not your image. Financially, this restructuring asks you to honor your resources with wisdom. Reckless risks, emotional spending, chasing fleeting highs, they no longer fit the frequency you are stepping into. Managing your energy, including your finances, becomes less about scarcity and more about stewardship. Each conscious decision you make now lays the foundation for abundance that doesn't just visit your life but chooses to stay. And in love, perhaps the most tender realignment of all is unfolding. You are no longer here to perform a version of yourself to win affection. You are learning that real connection doesn't ask you to dim or exaggerate who you are. It simply invites you to show up, messy, radiant, whole. To express your feelings not as a strategy but as a simple truth, trusting that the right hearts will recognize you without translation. There is a beautiful teaching that says transformation does not require grand gestures. It begins with a single breath taken in presence. A single choice to listen to your own inner voice before bowing to outside expectations. A single moment of choosing stillness over striving. Leo, one small act today, pausing before saying yes when you mean no, stepping into the sun for a few minutes longer than usual, allowing your real laughter to escape without polishing it, can shift the entire trajectory of your future. The energy realigning inside you is not asking for louder effort. It's asking for truer presence. It's reminding you that your power has never depended on how brightly you performed, but how honestly you allowed yourself to be. And the world doesn't need a polished version of you, Leo. It needs the real, breathing, untamed miracle you already are. Victory is not always won by those who fight the hardest. Sometimes, it belongs to those who remember who they are without needing the world to agree. Leo, your path to true wealth, in every sense of the word, begins not with struggle, but with inner alignment. In the language of the tarot, the Six of Wands doesn't celebrate conquest over others, it honors the quiet triumph of being fully at home within yourself. It's the kind of success that radiates without effort, the kind that draws opportunities, respect, and abundance naturally, because it resonates from a place too real to be denied. When your frequency stabilizes, life responds. Not because you chase after it harder, but because your field becomes a living invitation. In the practice of conscious living, there is a deep understanding that attraction does not happen through force but through coherence. What you consistently embody, not just in thought, but in vibration, is what the universe mirrors back to you. When you operate from a scattered place, opportunities feel scattered. But when you root yourself in your truth, when your actions, choices, and energy move from the same deep place, you become unmistakable to the forces around you. It's the same with nature. Think of a field of sunflowers. They do not need to seek out the sun, nor do they beg for light. They simply open, naturally, to the direction of life. And because they live fully in their essence, sunlight finds them, dances with them, nourishes them. You are not here to chase your dreams with desperate hands, Leo. You are here to embody the frequency of what you wish to receive, and then allow life to meet you there. Your colors, gold and deep flame, are not random. Gold is the color of unshakable confidence, a reminder that your worth is innate and cannot tarnish. Deep orange, the fire of creation and expansion, symbolizes the natural momentum that comes when you live aligned with your true energy. Wearing these colors, visualizing them, or even breathing into their frequency can be a simple yet profound way to remind yourself of the field you are choosing to embody. Confidence is not built by controlling outcomes. It is rooted by trusting your essence enough to know it will guide you where you're meant to go. Imagine, for a moment, that the opportunities you've been waiting for are already circling you, like stars on the verge of alignment. Not because you are striving harder, but because you have decided to stop leaking energy into fear and doubt. The law of resonance teaches that the outer world bends to the tone you hold within. If you truly believe you are worthy of love, of success, of expansion, not as an idea, but as a living reality, then life naturally reshapes itself to match that belief. Today, Leo, the message is simple but transformative. You don't have to try to pull abundance toward you. You simply need to become a clear enough channel that abundance recognizes you as one of its own. A decision made in authenticity. A conversation had without pretense. A dream pursued without self-betrayal. These are not grand, world-shaking acts. They are the tiny, powerful realignments that build a life of true wealth. You are already the field, already the sun, already the answer you thought you had to find somewhere else. From this day forward, you don't need to attract. You only need to remain. You only need to trust. You only need to be, and the current you've been searching for will rise up to meet you, steady and inevitable, just like the dawn. Maybe somewhere along the way, Leo, you were taught that your light had to be earned. That before you could be radiant, you had to be good enough, strong enough, successful enough, ready enough. But what if that was never the truth? What if your light was never a reward for doing, but simply a birthright of being? You don't have to carry the burden of proving your worth anymore. You don't have to climb mountains you were never meant to climb just to justify standing in your own sunrise. You are the flame. You are the field. You are the horizon breaking open with the first light of morning, and the world has been waiting for you to remember. The journey we've taken together today isn't about striving harder or doing more. It's about realizing that the version of you the universe is calling for has already been here all along. There is nothing missing. There is nothing broken. There is only the courage to step fully into yourself, unguarded, unfiltered, and breathtakingly real. And as you do, everything that once felt heavy, every mask, every doubt, every old rhythm that asked you to play small, begins to fall away, not because you fought it, but because you no longer needed it to survive. The real transformation happens quietly. It happens when you choose presence over performance, when you choose your own breath over the noise of expectation. It happens when you sit with your dreams not as distant wishes but as inevitable truths waiting for you to trust them. It happens when you no longer ask, "Am I enough?" and instead start asking, "Am I willing to live as if I already am?" Because you are. You have always been. And the universe is moving in harmony with your remembering. So I ask you now, Leo, what would it look like if you no longer waited for permission to shine? What if you stopped editing your dreams to fit someone else's comfort? What if you decided, right here and right now, that your existence is reason enough to take up all the space, all the love, all the abundance that is already reaching for you? Would you dare to step forward? Would you dare to trust that the ground will rise to meet your feet, not because you've earned it, but because you've aligned with it? The light you are carrying doesn't need fixing. It needs freeing. And today, the only thing you are being asked to do is say yes, not to someone else's vision for you, but to your own soul's call. Are you ready to leave behind the safe, small spaces that once kept you hidden? Are you willing to trade the illusion of security for the truth of expansion? Are you willing to be seen, not because you shouted louder, but because you stood taller in your truth? If even a small part of you feels the resonance of these questions stirring within, then you are already on your way. And I invite you, if you feel called, to anchor your decision by sharing it below. Comment, "I am ready," not for me, not for validation, but as a living vow to yourself and to the field that surrounds you. Let your words ripple outward, connecting with the invisible web of all those who, like you, are choosing to step into their light without apology. And if this message has touched you today, if it has sparked something ancient and undeniable inside you, I invite you to support this space that supports you. Your likes, your comments, your subscriptions aren't just numbers. They are energy. They are acts of trust, acts of resonance, acts of community. They help this message reach the hearts that are quietly waiting for it. They help us build a field where awakening is not rare, but inevitable. From the depths of my heart, thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing presence in a world that so often demands performance. Thank you for daring to remember your own brilliance. It is your courage, your tenderness, your quiet strength that keeps the spirit of this space alive and growing. And I promise you, Leo, the journey ahead is nothing short of extraordinary. Stay close. Stay open. Stay true. Your light was never a question. It was always an answer. And today, you don't have to chase it. You only have to recognize it, hold it gently, and walk forward with it lighting the way. We are just getting started. And the best is already on its way to meet you.